Hey, what's up, everybody? Fred Minnick here. Today, I am going to taste the Jack Daniel's Twice Barreled Special Reserve Tennessee Rye Whiskey, Heritage Barrel Rye, 100 proof, Lynchburg, Tennessee. So here's a little media sample I got. Ooh. I'll be telling you more about that in a second. So before I do that, I want to tell you about a few events that I have coming up. One, you may know about Bourbon and Beyond. It's got Bruno Mars and the Killers, Duran Duran, all these incredible musicians. I'll be doing my Blind Bourbon, which right here, see my Blind Bourbon tour T-shirt. You can see what that looks like in my merch here on YouTube. Check that out, or up here. And love for you to come and check that out and to come see me pick Best in Show. And also, the people at Blind Bourbon will get a vote for what is Best in Show. So if you are there tasting bourbon, you will get a vote, and the winner will get an Ascot Award. So my little trophy right here will go to the winner of that event. So like here, like whoever wins will be, ooh, hey, I got Best in Show at the Blind Bourbon. So that's, I am on stage Sunday, but also a lot of friends there, like Blake from Sealbox. He's going to be there as well. But my buddy Chris from Kroger is maintaining the bourbon stage. But we got a lot of cool things going to be there. So that's going to be coming up. Link in the bio for that. But that's September 14th through like the 17th. I also have a bunch of events with the Kentucky Derby Museum where I'm sitting down with Jackie Zykin. I'm sitting down with Corky from Peerless. Also doing a veterans-oriented event where folks who are veterans in the distilling community, like from Four Branches and MB Roland and Horse Soldier, we're going to be doing a panel together. I'll have a link in the description as well for that. And lastly, on September 26th, the Art of Bourbon returns. And I cannot wait for that because I'm actually able to bring a few members from Club Marzipan, my special group, my whiskey club that I've got going. And I'm bringing my jiu-jitsu coach. So I'm bringing him to check out what this bourbon world is all about. So that'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully he doesn't have a couple and want to grapple with me because he just can kick my ass like all the time. So anyway, that's those are some of the events that I've got going on. But even if you don't come to one, check out my merch. You know, I've got this Blind Bourbon shirt in there. I also have a Vodka Sucks shirt and some coffee mugs. My merch will be changing soon to be more aligned with what I'm doing over at Club Marzipan. But now that I got those announcements out of the way, how about we talk about a little Jack Daniel's, huh? So Jack Daniel's, of course, is this historic brand really known for the black label. I mean, in fact, I would say the way of American whiskey kind of goes the way of Jack Daniel's. If Jack Daniel's is not doing well, then Kentucky Bourbon's not doing well. Kentucky Bourbon follows Jack Daniel's wherever it goes. Jack Daniel opens doors in China, Japan, Australia, Poland, wherever in the world. They open doors. People want Jack Daniel's around the world. And while we may take it for granted here, it is considered to be a luxury all over the world. It's also the most counterfeited whiskey on the market. Of course, it is the number one selling whiskey in all the world. If you've ever been on a Jack Daniel's tour, put it in the comment section. It's one of the most impressive tours, I think, in all of whiskey. And I would love to know your thoughts on a Jack Daniel's tour because every time I go there, I am taken aback. And I'm like, how is this brand so big, but it feels so tiny coming out of Lynchburg, Tennessee? It does. To me, it always feels so tiny. But they were really focused on the black label in the 1990s. They introduced Gentleman's Jack, then they started introducing single barrels, and they started introducing high-level stuff. And now, you know, they've got like Jack Daniel's 10-year-old, 12-year-old, Bottled and Bond, Coy Hill. They're doing single barrel proofs, which I got a Jack Daniel's barrel proof coming up in my Club Marzipan very soon. If you're not a member, make sure you become a member. You can find the link in the description. But I just feel like Jack Daniel's is like, man, they have really turned their game up. They have turned their game up in the last couple of years, and it's been really impressive to see because they have focused on quality while at the same time managing this incredible volume they have. I mean, if you think about it, how hard would it be to maintain that volume? Like they churn out a lot of whiskey, a lot, more than anybody. And to maintain that and then still put out stuff that can compete for Best in Show, which, they were in the top 5 of my top 100 last year. And you cannot discount how hard that is to focus on quality and quantity at the same time. So that being said, I know people go really bonkers for their rye. I've always thought their rye outside of some of their barrel proofs were just kind of okay. I've never found their rye to be that appealing. So when they talk about doing a twice barreled rye, which I can't get this thing open here. Let's see what's going on. It's just a simple little piece of tape over it, and it's like sticking. Come on, here we go. There we go. I got it. All right. Screw you, tape. I'll show you what's up. They've done some things here and there with it, but it's just been okay. I mean, I'm not saying that I hated it, but it hasn't been as good as their standard Tennessee whiskey. So here's what their twice barreled special release heritage rye is. It's a grain bill of 70% rye, 17% corn, 12% malted barley. It goes through the charcoal mellowing process, otherwise known as the Lincoln County process, and then before it goes into their standard American white oak barrels for 5 years. Now remember, Brown-Forman, the parent company of Jack Daniel's, owns their own cooperage, so they can do a lot of stuff that other distilleries cannot because they own their own cooperage. So they have a lot more flexibility with what they can do with wood and where they can get it to how they like it. And they have no one to compete with for the barrels. So after it's been in a standard barrel for 5 years, they then take it and put it in another barrel that is heavy toasted for 2 years. And let's see, these press releases, they always put the price down at the bottom. Where is it? $75 for a 700 milliliter size, and that's 100 proof. Now you might be scratching your head saying, "Well, I thought 700 milliliters was only for Europe and other parts of the world." Well, a couple years ago, the government changed the American standard from 750 to allowing these 700 milliliters, and that was like a swipe of the brow in the business. People are like, "Oh, thank God I don't have to do multiple bottles," because there's been a glass shortage all over the place, and this, it's just easier for these distilleries to have one type of bottle. Now, here's the rub on that: they get a lot more profit out of the 700 milliliter than they do the 750 because they can stretch that out a little bit. But anyway, so that's enough of that. Let's get to tasting this rye here. Now look at that color. Holy smokes. They take standard Jack Daniel's 5 years old right here. They put Jack Daniel's 5 years old in this secondary barrel. It's got a heavier char, as they say. And look at that color. That's damn near red. I mean, seriously, I grew up right next to the Canadian River in Oklahoma. It went through my hometown of Jones, Oklahoma, and went everywhere. And that river was red. And of course, Oklahoma and Texas is known for having the Red River border. I've never found that to be nearly as red as the Canadian River, but my God, this is as red as that river I grew up around. Man. Woo! That smells lovely. Oh my. Okay. On the first nose, I smelled sweetness. On the second nose, that sweetness was defined to be honey. And then on that third nose, I got honey and some like smoldering of the wood, like the not charring, not toasting, but smoldering. Like imagine like a campfire just kind of sitting there, kind of finely ending. You can smell it. The end of a campfire smells much different than the beginning of a campfire. Am I wrong on that? I don't think so. I mean, I've done a lot of campfires in my time, and as a campfire is ending and it kind of goes into a little bit of a smolder, it just does not have that same life. So it's not smoky, but it's got a little bit of the end of a campfire there. Okay, here we go. Damn it, Jack Daniels. Damn it. Did it again. Damn it, this is good. Oh my God. This is going to be a very hard year for me. I mean, you all think it's all fun and games tasting this really high-end whiskey. And it is nice. But damn it, it is hard to choose what I like better. That's why I do it in blind tastings, but my God. This is so good. Like, damn. I was really hoping I didn't like this one. I really did. I really didn't want to have another one like, oh, I got to get that in my top 100. This is so good. All right, I'm going to stop fangirling over the whiskey here and try to give you some notes. Give me a second. Well, my first thought on this is, first of all, it does not taste like a rye. It doesn't taste like a rye. So if you are someone who just absolutely needs the flavor of rye, you need that herbal note, you need the spicy note, you need to feel that kind of like rye punch to your face. It's not here. It's not here at all. I also would say it doesn't taste like a bourbon or, a Jack Daniels. This is one of the more unique products that I have tasted that came from a distillery that we've known to produce one style for a long time. When you taste a craft distiller, they have a wide range, so they will have a single malt, they'll have a rye, they'll have a bourbon, they'll have a corn whiskey, maybe they've thrown in a light whiskey in there, they'll have some blends. A distillery like that, you're a little bit more accustomed for something tasting outside of their flavor profile. And this, the one thing that I am not tasting is the standard Jack Daniels banana note. And I've tasted it now twice. I'll taste it one more time, but I am not tasting that note. I'm not picking up that standard Jack Daniels banana note. So if I'm tasting this blind and you were asking me to tell you the distillery, I'd be clueless of it being Jack Daniels because that banana note is not there. Anyone who's had Jack Daniels for more than like a year or two eventually will pick up that banana note, and that comes from their yeast. It is not here in this. So I wonder if that secondary barrel, or at least the level that they chart it, if that does not basically render that banana note gone. And that is an interesting discovery in this glass right here for me. Because I had thought, previous to this tasting, I had thought that was the one quintessential note that Jack Daniels could never get away from. I mean, I have found that I can't say it's been in every one of my tastings because I'd have to go through and look through them all my notes and my videos, but I would say if it's not in all of them, it's 90%, 95%. But it ain't here. It ain't in this one. But here's what I do get. I do get like a smorgasbord of like confectionery, like sweet notes, like cakes. Very, very sweet, very fruity. But again, not banana fruit. We're talking pear. We're talking apple. Maybe even like a little like strawberry rhubarb in here. But this is going down a path of sweetness that I am not accustomed to with Jack Daniels. Like this, just throw out the brand Jack Daniels entirely. This twice-barreled special release that they're doing here, this Tennessee Rye whiskey, it is completely different. Completely different than any rye I've had or a Jack Daniels I've had. And it's going down this fruit sweetness. I'm getting no spice on it. No spice on it whatsoever, which is a standard note of rye. And, I mean, I like this a lot. I would even borderline say I love it. Like, that's how much I'm into this particular taste. But you have to criticize things and judge things based on how they are labeled. And if something is labeled as a rye whiskey and you pick it up in the store and it has like none of those traditional rye notes, you might be disappointed. And furthermore, if you are a Jack Daniels fan and you've come to love that banana note in the whiskey, you might find yourself disappointed with this. So while I love this, I don't know if the traditional rye drinkers will or if the traditional Jack Daniels drinkers will. But I happen to like it just fine. So don't buy it, and I'll pick it up. I'll pick up more of it. God damn, this is good. I mean, just get away from the label of what this is. This is good whiskey. All right, one last note to give you, and it might just be enough to sway the rye drinkers in the house. I get like a cinnamon note, but this is a hint of cinnamon. This is not a leading note or even the secondary note or even the third note. This is a slight hint of cinnamon toward the finish, almost like a cinnamon. What's that? Cinnabon, almost like one of those little Cinnabon swirls you would get in the airport, like a little icing there. But it's faint. It's not big, but there's a hint there. And still, as this finishes on my palate, it's still finishing, by the way, since the last taste. So we're looking at a long finish. This is delicious. I like it a lot. I'm saying borderline great, borderline I love it. This is going to most likely find itself in my top 100. I'd love to see how this would do up against some blind tastings, but as I mentioned to my Club Marzipan group earlier today, I am a little behind on my blind tastings. I'd say that when we get in November, I'll start catching up. But also, I got to think about my top 100 coming up. That being said, this is really, really good, and I can't stress this enough. Like, if you buy things based on what you like, I do not think you will like this if you are a rye-only drinker. I really do not. I do not think you will like this if you are a traditional Jack Daniels only drinker. I do not think you will like it if you're in those two groups. But if you are a whiskey fan overall, and you like the flavor of whiskey, and you like to see how it feels on your palate, see what kind of flavors you get out of different experimentations and so forth, this is going to be a home run for you. If you can find it, get it. The SRP on this, once again, is $75. Is it worth $75? Absolutely. 1,000%. And is it worth more than that? Well, I mean, every person's different, but I would not be paying crazy amounts of money for this. But I also I'm over here sipping a media sample, so what the hell do I know? I mean, I spend plenty on whiskey, but in all fairness, it's your money, so you spend it how you like. That being said, y'all, I recommend it. Go for it if you can. And I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd like to learn more about my whiskey club, Club Marzipan, go in the description, and you'll find a link to that. I also hope to see you at one of my upcoming events, whether Blind Bourbon at Bourbon and Beyond, or my stuff at the Kentucky Derby Museum, or the Art of Bourbon at the Speed Museum. I hope to see you soon. Be safe out there. Don't drink and drive. Be kind to one another. And remember, vodka sucks unless it's being used to clean up the murder scene of a dead cat.